Good afternoon, everyone. It's an honor to be here. I heard somebody speak this morning about people being institutionalized 40 years ago. I remember the day in 1965 when I was heading on to an institution. And my mother was one of those persons. She was very resilient too, because she wanted to keep her broader 7 children together. But society was telling her, no, Loretta can't be educated, you must put her away. But my mother, being a strong-willed person, she stuck to her guns. And I don't like to say guns as in war. She wanted me to graduate from high school and get a high school diploma. And not only get a high school diploma, but get a high school diploma that was the same as my sisters and brothers. We always say the same. Same rights, same this, same that. So when I got my high school diploma, the first thing she did was looked at it and says, I'm happy. Loretta Claiborne has completed her studies at William Penn Senior High School. Not attended. That's the way they did people like me. Most of my friends were hidden away in institutions. I also wanted to go to an institution because I got bullied so much. But as time went by, I was transitioning into high school. Before that elusive diploma, going to a shelter workshop where people, the nobodies, were supposed to be put if you did survive the institution. If there was a hell on earth, the hell on earth was in those institutions. But I didn't know that. So going back and forth to school, they started a school-to-work program to prepare me for the next part of my life. And as I was going to the workshop, I got in a fight, and I took a hammer to a guy. The bosses got a hold of me. They called out the psychologist, who was my psychologist, and he settled me down. He says, I think I have something that's going to work for you better than all those pills. I noticed you go in the nurse's office 4 times a day. And he handed me a paper. I couldn't even read it, and it said, Special Olympics. I didn't use my voice. And no, I didn't use sign language like I'm using today to talk to all of you. I was supposed to be one of those people who were the throwaways. When I got that letter and I took it home, my mom says, I'm on welfare, I can't afford this, I have regular children in drum corps. A neighbor says, look, Rita, this is better than all that medicine that you're giving, that you're giving to Loretta. The state gives you that medicine to keep her back. The state gives her that medicine to keep you back. If you want to see your dream fruitize, you always said you want Loretta to be this, you want Loretta to be that, and she says, all I want is Loretta to survive. And as time went by, the neighbor said, let Loretta do this program. It was the best thing that ever happened to me. And when I first went to Special Olympics, I was told, as I looked around, I seen the athletes running and stuff, I said, I don't want to do this, I run at home. I came home, my mother looked at me and says, how was your Special Olympics? Now you get up there and get that bath and get them bathrooms done. My mom was hard on me. I tried to talk like my sister Debbie. I mimicked her because she was my idol. She was popular, I wasn't. And I would say some words like, hers at her house, and my mom slapped me across the face and said to Debbie, oh, I didn't teach you to talk like that. But she would slap me because she wanted me to succeed. And as time went by, I looked at her, I said, I quit Special Olympics. She says, what? You don't quit nothing in my house, you understand? You understand? As long as you're in Rita Claiborne's, I don't care if there is the projects, you don't quit nothing in my house. Because you start quitting today, you'll always be quitting. Ladies and gentlemen, if you start quitting today on your advocacy, on your work towards clean water, towards the betterment of people, towards refugees, nothing's going to happen. You'll be fighting it the rest of your life. And as time went by, I took into my first Special Olympic event. And I finished, and I said, I quit. And she said, no, you don't. 49 years later, it would mark 50 years, January 2020, that I've been in a program that's changed my life. I carry 2 models. Let me win, but if I cannot win, let me be brave in the attempt. The model that Eunice Kennedy Shriver has gotten from the old Roman saying, going to war. It means a lot. Let me be brave in the attempt. My other motto is God is my strength and Special Olympics is my joy. What is your joy? I hope one of your joys is to make this world better, to acceptable to all. And when I look back at my time in Special Olympics, it's taught me a lot. I don't take one pill a day. I'm 66 years old. I am that older athlete that the woman talked about this morning. I'm going to worry about my future. I don't want to be one of those people that are in that nursing home sitting in a diaper. And Special Olympics has taught me this, a coach, a mentor. When I look at Special Olympics today, it's more than providing a sport. It's starting with children 2 years old to 7 to have training and learn how to play with their peers, not just with other children with disabilities. From the ages of 8 and above to go to school, to fight for the rights. We're constantly fighting for the rights and the betterment of all people with intellectual disabilities. And when I look at the schools now, it wasn't like when I went to school. I started the track team during the time of Title IX, when girls didn't even have right to participate in the United States. Women are still fighting for the rights. I just talked to a woman 2 weeks ago as I got off a plane of 13 hours, and she says, I'm from Saudi Arabia, and 2 people can't meet, 2 women can't meet. 2 men can, but not 2 women. And she's fighting for the rights of women just to have their own rights. And when I look at Special Olympics, that's what God put me on this earth for, is to fight for the rights of people with intellectual disability, to have the best lives that they can understand, and that the best lives that they could be in all parts of society. The other night I was at a conference, and I got a hard question thrown at me. And the gentleman stood up and says, what do you think about euthanasia and people with Down syndrome? My heart dropped. I said, let me tell you something, sir. I'm going to give you my answer. I believe in the right to life for everyone that lives on this earth. The right, as Eunice Kennedy Shriver once said in a speech, the right to go to school, the right to play on any playing field, the right to hold a job, and the right to be anyone's neighbor. You have earned it. Have I earned that right? When I was born, I was told I wasn't going to live this long. I outlived a mother, 2 brothers, and a sister. And I still think it's because of the bond that I had with a community that's not even around my neighborhood. When I say my community are my Special Olympic friends, my Special Olympics athlete. When my mother died, my sister looked at me and said, Loretta, who's all these people coming? I don't know these people. I said, Debbie, they're people from Special Olympics who come to support me in the passing of my mother. So if you think you don't have a community, please, please, please remember how valuable your community is to you. I know, and I say this all the time, if it wasn't for Special Olympics, I would be 2 places, 6 foot under or behind somebody's prison. And today, I can advocate on behalf of people with intellectual disability and other challenges. In the United Nations, they still have people with intellectual disability put under all disabilities or mental health. There's a difference between people with intellectual disability and people with mental illness. Both of them are very important because if you don't have a strong well-being, remember this earth turns, the sun comes up and it goes down. You see what's happening around with it. And I still think a lot of the problems that are happening around this world is because not a sense of community, not a sense of belonging, and not a sense of strong mental well-being. You're talking to a person who their life was assumed. Too many times we hear about lives being assumed. We assume that Loretta's not going to be able to be educated. We assume that Loretta's not going to be able to do this. There's over 200 million people with intellectual disability, and still the statistics say today we die 15 years earlier than the average person. We are mostly obese. My whole family is obese. I don't go by what doctors say. I go by what I believe. And I believe that what the good man up above tells me, that you go out and do his work. And when I think about Special Olympics, We are fighting all the time, whether it's for the youth, whether it's for inclusion in schools, whether it's for inclusion in the community, whether it's for the betterment of all people to have the right to be a part of society. A lot of people want to give us a stigma or a name. I like with the Crown Prince in Abu Dhabi as we held our games there, a country that we were so upset about, that we were afraid whether our athletes are wearing a bathing suit. The Crown Prince wants his country to be the #1 country to provide for people with intellectual disability, starting with the young people in the schools. And boy, they're way ahead of the time. So yes, we all can be empowered. Special Olympics has changed my life. It's my community. We all have a community, and we all have a sense of belonging. You heard earlier about the woman who got her honorary doctorate degree. This December, the 18th, I will be receiving my 3rd doctorate degree, honorary doctorate degree from York College, Pennsylvania. So never, ever underestimate the power of a person. We all deserve the right to live in this world. It's one world with many people. Thank you so much.